everybody.
What's up?
Welcome to the Sam and Ryan channel. My name is Sam.
My name is Ryan.
And today we are doing a deep dive that I'm very excited about.
I don't know.
I never thought we'd be making this.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I never thought we'd be making this.
No.
I'm shocked by the conclusions that we came to after diving into this.
But it's good.
All the buzz right now is the Damelio Show.
I mean, move over, Kardashians.
Yep, there's a new family of reality TV show stars in town with ostentatious amounts of money and fame, the likes of which we have no idea where they come from. If you don't know who the Damelios are, I genuinely don't know what you've been doing. Charli D'Amelio is arguably one of the most famous people on the planet, and her family is related to her. The Kardashians have stepped aside. Keeping Up with the Kardashians' final season
was in March
of this year, so the Kardashians are out. How do we replace the Kardashians? The vacuum that was left in their wake. Literally, Variety says, move over, Kardashians. Charli D'Amelio, who has more than 100 million followers on TikTok, and her family have gotten their own reality show. Hulu has ordered the Damelio Show, an 8-part series that follows the family, which has a combined social media footprint of over 250 million followers, which is incredible, but I'm also sort of like, a combined social media footprint? Charli D'Amelio has over 100 million followers. Dixie has like 50 but
million.
I guarantee you, out of the 50 million followers that Dixie D'Amelio has, 0 of them don't also follow Charli D'Amelio. So this footprint of 250 million followers is just all of the same people on different platforms, all of whom are really just there for Charli. But I digress.
But yeah, and that's not shady. There's no shade there.
No, not at all. I just think that
I just think it's true.
All tea, no shade.
All tea, no shade.
As they would say on RuPaul's Drag Race.
No shade. So we sat down today and we watched the first episode of the Damelio Show on Hulu.
Poor Lori.
And I will say I was surprised. I was surprised with it. We're gonna get into all of the reasons and all of our thoughts, but it's here and we're probably gonna watch a lot of it.
If you're new to the Sam and Ryan cinematic universe, we do a series on this channel from time to time called The Intelligent Drinking Game. The Intelligent Drinking Game is where we pick a topic, we get drunk, and then we talk about it. This time we're doing it a little bit differently. We will be drinking while we talk about this. We just decided anytime you question the parents' motives or their parenting skills, you have to take a shot. I will start off by taking a shot because my biggest takeaway is that I actually think Charli and Dixie are both lovely human beings, and I don't trust the parents at all. So that's just my immediate takeaway.
I'm also gonna take a shot to start this off. We unfortunately can't do a live reaction with you because
that's what we wanted to
copyright,
do.
You know, we tried screen recording Hulu and they give you a black screen.
It wasn't for lack of trying. We tried to capture it on OBS, on QuickTime. We were really trying to do this.
And we just couldn't. So what we're gonna do is we are just gonna take you through our notes that we took while watching the first episode. It's gonna be a grand old time. We are so excited to talk about this. So let's take our first shot, and then I say we just get into it. Cheers to not trusting parents of famous social media children.
Tea.
Woo-wee! So the show starts off with a little bit of a montage about the family, loosely.
Yeah, and like a teaser of like the stuff we're gonna
going.
see, you know, this season.
Yeah, and Dixie was just quoted talking about how grateful she is to have her family and have, see them every day, especially considering, quote, what we're going through. And at first, I think from the reality TV show perspective, you might think like, what we're going through, like really, like how hard could it be? But what you later learn, and I don't think a lot of people realize this, is everything that's happened to the Damelios has happened over the course in 1.5 years.
To go from just some girl to I mean, 100 million followers, that is a third of the population of the United States of literal America. And Charli says this in the show. She's like, how do you even fathom that amount of people?
Yeah, how do you fathom that? And so Dixie's point was just like, I mean, yeah, if I were Dixie, if I were Charli, I'd be very grateful to have my family, like, considering it happened in 1.5 years.
I also found it interesting when we were first introduced to Dixie, everyone kind of, like, was put in their sort of, like, boxes. Like, Charli was the famous TikToker, you know, the dad was the dad, the mom was the mom, and Dixie was like the musician, which I thought was very interesting. I know that she released music, and again, no shade at all, but like I just kind of thought it was like, well, I have a bajillion followers, so I might as well release music. But like Dixie apparently has been doing music her whole life. She plays piano and violin. I was kind of like, I had no idea. Again, like social media is the quintessential format to judge a book by its cover, and it was nice to actually read a little bit. I also think something that that bothered me, and this was a through line through the whole thing, but they started strong with it, was just sort of this like, oh shucks, we're just like a normal family from Connecticut, and then like our daughter got crazy famous and we moved to LA. And that's like kind of true in the grand scheme of like going from having a couple hundred followers to 100 million. But Charli, I think, is quoted saying something along the lines of, you know, my dad owns a clothing line and my mom was a personal trainer. And it's very like a revisionist and reductive way to describe who their family is. Like, their dad ran as a Republican and as an independent for the Connecticut Senate.
Yeah.
Their mom was a model. When they moved from Connecticut to California, they sold their house for $1 million. Like, this isn't just like some aw shucks suburban middle class family. Like they definitely had some dope stuff going on already, which isn't to say like what happened to Charli wasn't like completely overwhelming and out of left field. It's sort of like, oh, Ariana Grande like came out of nowhere. No, her parents were super rich. Taylor Swift came out of nowhere. Her parents were super rich. Ben Platt, like, aw shucks, no, his dad produced the musical. So it's just, if you come from money, just say you come from money. I don't care if you're rich. I care about the fact that you're trying to hide that you were rich to make it seem like this came out of nowhere when it didn't. Okay.
I do think we did just say that we were like questioning the parents. I think that counts as another shot time.
I was gonna say, like, they talk a lot about normal teenagers, normal life. Like, that's where they come from, that's what we want for them. I don't trust that they mean that, because I think that what they really want is for their daughters to be as successful as possible so they all make a lot of money. But it was nice to hear that so often, because like, I don't know these girls from Adam. I want that for them. Oh my God. Like, I hope that Charli has a rich and fulfilling social life full of friends that she can trust, and that they just have like game nights, and that it's not just all TikTok all the time. Yeah,
it was refreshing to hear that from the parents, but also I don't know if, can I do like a half? I don't know if that's entirely true when they have a family YouTube channel, when they have a podcast that the parents are also on. It's just a little like, I mean, if you really want a normal life like for your kids like that, don't make the parents famous too. Anyways. Well, on that, I mean, let's take the shot, and then I have another point.
We have so many thoughts about
this. We have so many thoughts. We're addicted a little. Cheers to parents.
Please be good ones. There was also the times 100 thing.
So this is the point that I wanted to make. We see Charli very anxiously talking about times 100. She was put on the times 100 list, which is a huge deal.
Absolutely.
And you could visibly see her not wanting to take it, not wanting to be a part of it, because she was like, people are gonna look at me and go, why is she here? You know,
she like, literally goes, I just dance on the internet. That's all I do.
She literally said, I just dance on the internet. Like, one of my biggest takeaways was how normal Charli seems and how self-aware she is.
Yes. So humble, so normal, like very much aware of like, she says this, she's like, I didn't do anything to make this happen, it just happened.
Yeah.
I love that.
I do too. And so in this conversation with this like president person, she's talking about all of this, and then you hear him say, well, it'll make your parents happy. Hearing that really like perked my ears up, because I was like, Excuse me? Like, I don't want anybody whispering into Charli's ear, well, just do this, it'll make your parents happy.
Yeah.
That's manipulation.
Just a quick note about everything that we just said. All of those thoughts that we just talked about and everything that we wrote down and just shared with you, that was all the first 3 minutes of the documentary.
Truly.
Oh, and sorry, even just me using that word, I remembered, it doesn't feel like a reality TV show.
Which I like,
Yeah.
and that was one of my biggest takeaways, was I think the reason this show has longevity is because it feels like a documentary. It doesn't feel like it's a reality show. At least yet, it doesn't feel super like, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Nothing about it felt like it was a documentary. It just felt like really forced drama and like insight into their lives. This feels like it struck a completely different tone, and I feel like everyone in the world is kind of curious as to like, so what's the deal with this Charli girl? Like,
right.
how do you have 100
yeah.
million followers? And this has that same tone. So I just think that that's really good.
Just because I'm always the pessimist in this duo, I do wonder if the reason that the first episode felt like more like a docuseries and less like a reality TV show is because it's the first episode, so it has to be expository and introduce you to the cast of characters, and that maybe later episodes
It'll get a little bit more
drama. So we might have to revisit this after we watch the entire season and kind of be like,
how did it hold up?
How'd they do? Yeah, exactly. Charli had so many moments in this that just really underscored how not only normal she is, but how good of a head she has on her shoulders. And frankly, I should probably vomit up a shot into this shot glass. I should probably take it back, because if you have that good of a head on your shoulders after only 16 years of living, like, the parents had to have done something right.
Did their job.
I still don't trust them at all. I still don't trust them at all.
Oh, you just said it.
I know, I shouldn't have. I'm just gonna do it, baby.
If I didn't say it, do I have to also take the shot?
No.
Okay, cool.
I understand that this medium is supposed to present them in a truthful but flattering light. But that being said, like, you can't hide who you really are in front of a camera. And I'm sorry, so I'm not going to take 2 shots, but like, the parents couldn't hide the fact that they were kind of taking advantage of their famous daughter. Like,
even just a little bit, like, you
can't hide that. Like, I completely believe Charli. She also like had made this great point about Dixie's music, because a lot of this docuseries is about like the hate that Dixie gets for her association with Charli and the subsequent fame that she's experienced by being Charli D'Amelio's sister. And Charli's like, oh, because you wouldn't? Like, if you just had an opportunity to like make a record and sing in a studio, like, you wouldn't? Of course you would. And I was just like, girl, like, she's is so wide awake.
Yeah, take your shot.
Thank you, yeah. Okay, I have so many thoughts.
Take the shot.
Can we talk about their team next? Because I hate them.
Yeah, take the shot.
But I love you, Charli. You're great.
What was my thought? I was trying to get it out. To the point that you made about the comment she made about kind of defending Dixie, that was something that I really liked that this show focuses on, or really showcases, is their relationship with each other. But I loved to see Charli defend Dixie in that way, and just acknowledge the fact that a lot of the treatment that Dixie gets and a lot of the hate comments are just so unfair, but there's an element of self-awareness to both Charli and Dixie that was really intriguing for me to see, because like you said, like, people can try to fake stuff in front of a camera, but all of the comments Charli made about her own fame, about how, of course, Dixie is using this as an opportunity to try stuff she's always wanted to do, which is very self-aware. And I think that level of self-awareness is something I was not expecting to get from a reality show like this, because there's not an ounce of self-awareness in like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like not a single ounce. And so that was just really refreshing.
Yeah, my overall thought on this, to sort of take a page out of Charli's book, is like, for all of the people who are like, Dixie is so overhyped and like it makes no sense that she's famous, my only question to you is like, what would you do if you were Charli D'Amelio's sister? Because whether Dixie took advantage of it or not, she's in the spotlight. She is 1 degree of separation from one of the most famous girls in the world. So if you were 1 degree of separation from one of the most famous girls in the world, you would be like, no, I don't want it. You would be like, oh, 54 million followers, meh. Oh, I've always been interested in singing and music, but I don't want to. Literally, you. Every single person on this planet, if they were Charli D'Amelio's sister, they would do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
So all of this hate that she gets, it's literally ludicrous. It is so hypocritical because you would do it too.
You would do it.
You would do it too.
And Charli makes that point. She literally goes, yeah, right.
Right.
And I was like, give me sass, Charli. Give me sass.
At some point, something happened. I forget what it was, but we were like, you really wanted that in this show, Damelio family? And so we looked up who produces this show.
Oh, yes.
And it's not them.
Which is surprising because that means they don't have control over what is released. The Damelios, like not even the parents are listed as producers. So that also gives it this kind of documentary style feel because it's a little like, oh, well, it's not necessarily like, you know, they get to control how they're perceived in the final edit.
Right, but they should. They should.
Yeah.
Charli, if you're watching.
Get that executive producer credit, girl. I will say, maybe it was a marketing tactic because I feel like critics of this show would have seen how genuine and real it feels and then gone, oh, well, they were a producer, so they controlled this. Damn. So, like, this could be fake, too.
Darn.
Yeah.
I didn't swear. I didn't swear, YouTube. Don't demonetize us. I didn't swear. I said darn.
I think them not being producers actually gives this more validity. Is that the word?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
That is...
astute.
AF, bro.
Thank you.
Punch it in, my guy.
My guy. My guy.
So Dixie has a label A&R and then like a content curator with her label. I hate both of them. They're both pillowcases.
They just
They're
feel
both
like they do nothing.
Yeah, like content is key. Like the faster you can write, like the more we can capitalize on this momentum. I'm like, you're not saying anything. You have literally no ideas.
It felt like they had casted people off of like LA casting and then gone improvise as like a music
pretend you're an A&R
label person.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. And okay, and then we saw a moment with Dixie's voice coach, who's like a big deal YouTube guy.
I recognized him. He's a vocal coach, and he's a popular vocal coach because he's also Selena Gomez, J-Lo's vocal coach.
Right.
But I've seen him before.
Definitely can sing really well, Selena Gomez. And then also the Charli had a dance instructor, so they filmed Dixie's voice lesson and Charli's dance lesson, and I understand that they like needed content or whatever, but literally shame on you. Are you kidding me?
Never film those.
Never film a lesson. Like, and we're kind of now going to transition into Dixie because honestly, I think that Dixie's story is kind of the star, at least of the first episode. I was shocked by the way that this episode took a turn into everything that Dixie goes through. Not necessarily shocked at what Dixie goes through, but shocked at how they portrayed it.
Yeah.
But like, Dixie, self-proclaimed, struggles from anxiety and depression. Mm-hmm. Like, the parents, I don't have to drink about this is a nice thing. The parents talk about, like, getting her in therapy young.
Yes.
We love therapy.
Yes, we love therapy.
We love normalizing, like, mental health. That's amazing.
I was so happy to hear that her mother mentioned
yes.
that, like, Dixie had seen a therapist. Like, we love therapy.
But so, like, if you are highly insecure, there is very little care being taken for the actual longevity and well-being of these girls. Mm-hmm. Like, Dixie's an adult, but 1 year into adulthood.
She's 19.
Charli is 16 years old. Like, these are children or children adjacent, and they should be very well taken care of, and I just feel like they aren't at all. But especially Dixie, who is constantly being criticized as the like worthless older sister of the famous girl. They string together this whole narrative of how Dixie like became famous before she was ready for the moment, and how now she's trying to like meet the moment but still satisfy the fans, but all the fans are actually haters. I'm just sort of like, so you know all of this information, you shared all of this information with us as the audience, and then you taped her voice lesson? Like,
it's just insensitive.
It's so insensitive. I will say, like, we did see a breakthrough. She sounded fierce singing Driver's License, but it was also like, why did you do this to her? Like, this is such a miss in terms of, like, actually caring for her well-being.
And what kills me is, yes, we saw her nail it, but she has a lot of haters. What are they gonna do? They're gonna take the 15 seconds before she nailed it, make that a TikTok, and be like, see, it's all auto-tune.
Yeah.
No, she actually does have a good voice. It's just you're filming a very vulnerable vocal session.
Well, and this happens, like, they always say when opportunity knocks, you have to be ready to answer, but a lot of the times opportunity knocks, you're not ready to answer, and then they break into your house and just abduct you.
Yes.
And that's what happened with Dixie D'Amelio. Like,
and Charli, I would say.
Well, Charli's fierce, though. Like,
yeah.
I kind of feel like Charli was ready for the moment. Spoiler alert, even though we've already spoiled the entire episode. But the episode ends with a massive anxiety attack from Dixie after her Vogue Day in the Life segment, where she is just
breaking down,
crushed by how everyone has bullied her for this Vogue segment, specifically a shot of her where she literally says, just got home from the gym. And I actually think she looked great.
She looked totally
totally normal, but like all the comments were like, oh, she looks musty here. And even if she did, which she didn't, it's like, no duh, she just got back from the gym, Sherlock.
It's very frustrating.
But the parents are like, boo-boo, don't worry, like, it's gonna get better. I'm like, no. Don't read the comments.
That's the advice you give there.
Never read the comments. I have 1 million followers. That is precisely 53 million less than you got, Dixie. Like,
I have 127,000, and it's still advice that applies.
You don't read the comments, because if you read them, you're going to want to die, because people are so mean on the internet, and all of these armchair quarterbacks become incredibly courageous with their little keyboards because they have basic anonymity on the internet, and they feel like they can say whatever they want. Dixie was quoting hate comments.
Yeah.
Why are you reading them? Also, you have a president of your fame company who they can't curate the comments and only send you the good one. Like, don't read.
Don't read them. So let's take the shot for.
Come on, you guys, take care of your daughters.
Cheers. This is the saddest shot I've ever taken.
I know.
What they ended up saying was like, "Don't worry, it'll get better," which, you know, honestly, isn't necessarily true.
Nope.
It might.
No, it won't. It will get worse.
It will get worse, like, yeah. So
their star is only rising.
Exactly.
The parents don't care. I don't know.
Oh my god. So as you can tell, we have a lot of thoughts and feelings
We're so invested
about the Damelio Show.
I rolled my eyes so hard when we decided that we were going to film a video like this. I was like, okay,
shocked.
We like the second the episode was over, we were like, we need to watch 10 more.
We need to do this.
And there are only 8.
We really thought this was just going to be some keeping up with the Kardashians crap, and it's really not. So if you have ever asked yourself the question, if you have ever asked yourself the question, like, why is Charli famous? I don't know if this is going to answer that because no one can, but it does give you good insight, and my hope is that a lot of the people who just waste their time hating on these girls in this family will at the very least get a glimpse into what effect that has on real people.
The trolls aren't going anywhere.
No.
If anything, this will give them more fodder. So the fact of the matter is, the people who can learn the most from this documentary is the Damelio family.
Oh.
I hope that they watch these episodes.
Yeah.
Because what is more self-aware than watching yourself on television and seeing yourself try to present a version of yourself to media and say, okay, that was 38 minutes of me dealing with all of the crap that people say about me on the internet.
Maybe I shouldn't watch.
The problem isn't the fact that people say it. The problem is that I'm looking.
Yeah, that's so true.
The end. And I can't wait to watch more. I'm absolutely hooked.
We are hooked. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Bucky, get off the table. Wait. Bucky just on a... Okay.
Like and subscribe. Listen, hey, you see how woke we are? Make us as famous as the D'Amelios. Because we won't read our comments, so we'll be just fine. But please comment on this video. We definitely read everything you say.
Nice save, babe. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.